Our recent snowy fall day inspired me to write down a list of things that we love to do as like a last chance thing for the month of November. So grab you a cup of coffee, or in my case for today, water, and we're going to talk about 5 free activities that you can do with your homeschool kids to celebrate the last month of fall. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. My goal for today is to share 5 free things that you can do with your kids this fall, because it's been forever since I was actually able to take my kids to like a fall festival, or we took a fall festival at our church, but like fall hayride and stuff, because things have gotten so expensive. And I think there's such a big misnomer of homeschooling is so expensive and you have so much cost to be able to do. And I really disagree with that. There are so many free things that you can do with homeschooling. And I think people just don't realize that some things that they can do for free actually count as homeschooling. So we're going to share those 5 things today with you. Number 1 on our list is bird watching. So one of our favorite things is that we actually have a bird feeder that is right outside of our living room window. So we recently filmed a video that you're not going to see until Thanksgiving Day. Spoiler, if you're watching this, Thanksgiving Day. If you want something for your kids to do, we've got a fun fall video bird watching with some jazz music. But we also usually every year we try to as the seasons change and it just looks really pretty outside, we kind of like to change it up. Some of the ways that you can tie that in for like homeschooling is let them just sit down and watch the birds. Get them a bird watching book or borrow one from the library free. Sit down and identify some of those birds that are local to your area. Have discussions like, what do their nests look like? What do their eggs look like? What are some identifying marks of them? Which ones are more likely to be here in the spring, summer, fall, or some that stay in your area year round? Have fun just like identifying those different species of birds, and maybe even like research like specific bird seeds that you can look into for like each of your different types of birds. What do they like? What do they dislike? Set that up, and you don't even have to get like a big fancy bird feeder if you don't want to. You could just start with something as simple as a roll of toilet paper with peanut butter on it and some seeds on it. Just make it a fun experience for you and your kids, and just something fun that you can do. And also, this is something like I try to balance like indoor and outdoor. You could do bird watching outside as well and go on a nature walk somewhere and do the same thing if you just don't have the bird feeder, or if you just don't have the gas money, or you only have one car and it's a struggle to do that. Setting up a bird feeder is something super easy, or just take a walk around your yard or see what you can just see from your front porch area. Item number 2 is actually something that we made in one of our first videos back in 2017, I think. I don't even remember. Number 2 is leaf collecting. Leaf collecting is so super fun. One of the challenges that our kids like to do is, and they loved it even more as when they were younger, so I'm trying to do age variances here, is a game that we call Don't Let It Touch the Ground. And their goal is to stand like near a tree that, like, of course, like if a tree looks like it's going to fall down any minute, don't let your kids stand under it, but stay near a tree, and as the leaves are falling, see how many they can catch. And then we play the game of don't let the leaf touch the ground. The leaf can never touch the ground after that. They have to hold it, carry it, whatever. Sometimes they'll put it like in their hair, or they'll put it on their siblings. But that's one thing that you can do is and that's kind of like a physical PE related activity that you can do with them, like tie in science and that. Then of course with leaf collecting, you can look into researching and identifying the leaves and which one goes with each tree. And sometimes in some areas, like you could look around the ground around you and be like, oh, this leaf doesn't look like any of the trees that are like right here in this area. Talk about how wind will blow leaves away and how seeds travel and how leaves travel. Also talk about like when you leave leaves on the ground and how they'll turn into fertilization the next spring, how you can care for that. Some people buy like bins where they can put the leaves each fall, and then they can just rotate them and turn them, and they turn them into their own mulch each year. You can kind of like have science discussions like that. On the same subject, number 3 is pine cone collecting. This one, as you get closer to Christmas, is a really fun one as well, and that's why I love doing this one more in November anyways, because November, December, you can really do some fun Thanksgiving or Christmas decorations with pine cones. You can also, there's some projects for kids where like you take Elmer's glue and you paint the tips of the pine cones, ones that are like really open, and then you can add like beads, or you can use pom-poms. You can add little bits to it, and then you've got a pine cone Christmas tree. You can also paint them. You can glue the ends of them and attach them and make like little wreaths with them. There's all kinds of things that you can do with the pine cone as a craft itself, but you can also again go back to identifying the trees, where they came from, and again see if you can see some of the pine cones and see if some of them don't go with any of the trees that are near you, and then again talk about about like how they will travel and how pine cones get to where they are and how they work and seeds, and like you can still have all that conversation back again based on the science, but you also still have like the nature walks, you're getting out in nature, and you're also getting the PE exercise, and then you also get like an arts and crafts project out of it. Number 4 is something we recently did, and this one is less nature and more STEM and cooking related. So number 4 is candy making. So recently we did a video, I'll try to link it in the cards, but we recently made a video where we learned how to take orange peels. So we were already eating Mandy's and we already had those, and like we usually just threw the peels away. We recently found out that orange peels have actually quite a bit of vitamin C inside of them. So we were able to take the orange peels and learn how to candy them. So that's a whole process itself, as you talk about, like especially with older kids, like chemistry, chemical compounds, about how sugar dissolves into water and that makes it a chemical compound. And you can talk about like flavors and things, and it adds in math because you're doing measurements. With science, you're doing the temperatures. You can add in so many different elements to it. Like I'm pretty sure our chemistry curriculum even has like cooking as part of its lesson plan for the class. So find some little fun things that you can do with that. You can also candy walnuts. There's all kinds of different candies you can make. Like we're actually researching to hopefully soon make something that's a new candy that I've never made before that actually requires a candy thermometer. Even that's a whole separate process. Number 5, and again, this is one that doesn't just have to be for fall. You can also do it in winter, spring. If you do a summer semester, do it summer. Weather watching. Fall is kind of my favorite in East Tennessee for weather watching, and early spring, but mostly fall because like I said, Monday, we had some of the trees were still changing. Like they hadn't even fully changed yet. They were still changing to their fall colors. And we had snow, and I mean like so much, like it didn't lay on the ground as much because 24 hours before the ground was 60 degrees, so it didn't want to stick as much, but it did stick a little bit. But like as soon as the sun came out, it would melt right back off. There were times it would look like it was like we were being shaken up in a snow globe. Like it was just like blinding, sideways blowing snow everywhere. Fall is one of my favorite times to do weather journaling. So how does that work? Well, number 1, each year our kids start with a science journal notebook that they write in. That's for them to write their notes in. That's for them to write down things that they need to remember for quizzes or tests if they do those. It's also a place for them to like sketch and journal things that they are learning. Good morning, have apple cinnamon oatmeal please, from the box, not from the basket. And there's also some other things that you can do with that. So some things that you can journal, a list of things that I wrote down that we've done before. Number 1, or A, is weather patterns. Like I said, on Monday it was snowing, and then Tuesday it was still cold, but we didn't have any precipitation left and enough moisture in the air to have any precipitation, but then like our humidity really bottomed out. So we got to have a conversation about when you have snow, it pulls the moisture out of the air, so then the next day there's less moisture in the air, there's static on the clothing, hair feels staticky, things like that. So like that became a conversation for like weather patterns and things, and talking related back to weather itself. We also talk about weather patterns because it used to be an old wives' tale, but they've now scientifically proven it. In East Tennessee, if we have a thunderstorm within 72 hours, we have snow. And that's exactly what happened. Friday night, we had thunderstorms in our area. Further west of us, they actually had tornadoes. And then when it hit us, it was just thunderstorms, and we had some hail damage. Not like our house, but our area. Then within 72 hours, we had snow, and they're like, oh, it's only going to snow until like 5 a.m. And then it ended up snowing all day and part of the night. But again, because the ground was warm enough, we didn't get snowed in. And it didn't really stick as much. It just stuck to like the leaves that were on the ground. Again, weather pattern. Like we got stuck this scientific fact of like, why is that wives' tale true? Why is it within 72 hours with thunderstorm, and late fall, early winter, we get snow? So we had a great conversation about that for weather patterns. Another thing that we do is we have a chart where we'll mark a month. Like if we're doing a weather unit or a week or a month, you have to put what the high for the day was, what the low for the day was. For bonus points, you can have them look with you on your phone of like, what are they predicting it to be, and then what was it actually, and see how accurate the thermometers and meteorological study today is versus like what it was 30 years ago. So it's fun to have like that chart where they mark the highs, the lows, and again the precipitation levels. Again, you could also mark the humidity levels if you want to teach them like how weather affects like our humidity levels and how it affects how we feel outside. Point C is mark when certain trees change colors and discuss how temperatures and precipitation play a role in the changing of leaves. So because we had a super wet summer, but then in September we had drought. When you live in a temperate rainforest, drought is basically anything where you don't get rain for a week. I'm not kidding. In September, we barely had any rain. So this year we didn't have as many, like we didn't have as many vibrant yellows because there was so lack of rain in September, and September wasn't as hot as it usually is. Like we sometimes still are in the 90s in September, and then we never reach the hundreds in July like we normally do. It was a cooler summer, and it was a dry September. Therefore, when our leaves started, and they started changing early. So our leaves actually started changing in August because the temperature started lowering in August. So they started changing. And then when the drought hit in September, some of the leaves kind of like freaked out and froze. In October, all of a sudden the temperatures just dropped again. So the leaves started changing fast. Then we had like one freak day in October. The temperatures jumped back up to the 80s and then immediately back the next day into the 50s and 60s and raining. So like the trees were just like, I have no idea what to do. So we never got those vibrant yellows this year. And it's almost Thanksgiving and we have trees that are still changing. And that's weird for our area. Normally we peak about mid-October and then they start just brown. Like it's usually brown or trees or leaves gone by Thanksgiving. And then, like I said, sometimes Thanksgiving it snows, sometimes it's just really cold. Usually it's cold by then and it feels like winter by Thanksgiving. It's fun to have like those discussions and kind of mark those things down as you go, and it'll make like a fun study for them. Like I said, you don't even have to do a whole month. We've done it like a month at a time. I think we did 3 months last year for January, last year before, when they were doing a weather study for their science class for 8th and 9th grade. And that's it for today. Those are the 5 free things that you could do. Some of it's just like meteorological watching. Most phones come with a weather watching app with it. Ours just updated and has like fun pictures and stuff with it, and you can actually click on links to the Weather Channel, which is actually one of the oldest websites on the internet, is the Weather Channel. Fun fact, like Weather Channel had a fully functioning website in the mid 90s, like before some other websites actually existed. It's crazy. So they've had a fully functioning website that whole time. It's kind of fun to go back and look at that. Some of these things are indoor, some of them are outdoor. The thing is, like, find things that are fun and free for your kids to do, because like Thanksgiving's already expensive enough as it is. Just add in little things as you go. Like we had so much fun Monday just turning on Sherlock Holmes, watching birds from the window, watching the snow, and like watching the weather patterns outside. And we kind of combined a lot of those things except for like the leaf and pinecone collecting because it was cold and snowing. But that's it for today's video. 4 things I want to tell you guys. Number 1, Jesus loves you. Number 2, thank you to all of our members for supporting this content, especially Cheryl and Jen, who are on the Watch Us Grow level of membership, which means they get bonus videos. And number 3, thank you to every single one of you for liking, watching, positive comments, and subscribing, because it helps us to share these videos, to share free tips with other homeschooling families. And number 4, we hope to see you next time.